My friends, welcome to this week's weekend special. Today I will be working on Model Mania 2011, which is a very interesting object. Looks like a part that will hold some other bolts, stuff like that. And this model I'll build in FreeCAD 0.22 developers version. So this is not a stable release. I am trying out this developer version, this 0.22 version. It has massive change uh, from the existing 0.21 version, and especially in the sketching part. Okay, that's all about the software that I'll be using. And let's go back to model. So this 2011 model mania model challenge, it has two parts. Phase one is to build this object with a 3mm shell around, which should not be a big deal. And then on the second phase, we'll have to change the outlook of that parts that we built in phase one. So in the phase one, it was a rectangular kind of straight cross section from the side. If we look at phase two, that straight kind of like a horizontal profile changed to more of a curvature, and it has a 70mm curvature. So we'll have to change that. And also in phase two, we'll have to do some FEM analysis. So I'm guessing I will have to leave the phase two for a second video. So today in the phase part one of this series, I will be building phase one. All right, let's go ahead and start working on the image processing. And I'll take this length as my calibration length. And also it's good to make it half transparent. Okay, and this model I want to start from top, so this will be the figure I'll be using. And let's go ahead and bring in the axis cross by pressing AC on the keyboard at the same time. Now I want to relocate the image, so I'm not changing the workspace center. So the origin is staying at 0, 0. I'm just taking the image at that origin. So this is the view that I'll be using, and that's what I want to use. I know this is a symmetric object, so I could build only quarter of it and kind of do everything else. But I think given the geometry with all curvature and circular parts, I will probably build the whole thing. So on this one, I'll probably build half of it and then mirror it over and then do on this work on this cylinder stuff. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and start sketching on XY plane. And real quick, I'll build the half of it. Okay, so this half. I will start with an arc. Right, and then I'll switch to create arc by 3 points. It used to be endpoint dream point arc. Now, okay, so I want to make it like this. Do the same thing on this side. And then I want to close it off with a line. Now, because it's a polyline, it will default on the tangential side. So I hit press M on the keyboard, it changes back to at a right angle. I hit again M on the keyboard, and they're kind of like free line. I want to close it in. All right, so first of all, I want to take this point on this line that way. That kind of places it like the horizontal tangential side. So I'm taking this dot and selecting the axis and hitting C on the keyboard. C is the new constraint coincident, so I can press it here or like just hit key C from the keyboard. That kind of does the trick. And the tangency, we want to apply some tangency here, so that is the command T. I'm trying to learn these keyboard shortcuts on FreeCAD. So I'll be doing back and forth between toolbar options and the ones that I remember on the keyboard. Now I want to apply some constraints by placing D on the keyboard, and this will be radius 20. Right, now on this one we have a radius. Okay, so that radius is 20, so that's 40 radius. That's the one. Okay, let's go ahead and make this one, let's say 40. And now I want to take these two and make it symmetric by this dot, and that's keyboard shortcut S. Right, what else do we have? We have 1 degree of freedom left, which is, I'm guessing, here. So that's the distance of the center. Now on this developer version, the previous layer, I have to select these two and come here and then say fix the horizontal dimension, which is now tucked into here, the horizontal dimension. Now I like it, so I just select this dot, right, and then hit D. So that actually gives me the option by default from the origin. So that would be 30. I like this 0.22 version. It's a lot user friendly. Anyway, so we got a fully constrained sketch. Right, now what do I want to do with it? I see here it's a curvature and then it will go around it. So I'm thinking, what if I build this profile and then kind of swing it by, it will be loft, right? You can try that, but to do that it will be easy for me to actually have one arc to select from, so one curve, and I can do that from the draft from the curves workbench, which is an add-on. You'll have to add it onto the FreeCAD. It doesn't come with your default, but so we can go to the curves workbench and select this join curves. Now this option I'm using it so often, I placed it on my custom toolbar. So this is my custom toolbar. It stays there no matter what workbench I select on. So even I can use that join curves command from the part tool workbench. So I select all the lines that I need and then hit join curves, and that kind of joins it. So I can hide this one. So this is the one that I'll be using to create a sweep. So let's go ahead and build that sweep profile. Okay, so that profile will be from this side. So I want to switch this image to XZ plane, right? And let's see where it is. Okay, there. I want to place it on this figure. So let's transform that image one more time. Right here on top, I want to place it on top. That should do. All right, so now I want to draw this sketch on XZ plane. Okay, here, and I want to take this line as my reference, and that is GX from the keyboard. So that's external geometry, this command GX, like that, and that should give us a dot to work with. It did not. Right, it did not give us that, so let's go ahead, pull it from the original sketch and hide the join curve. Now we can take this as a reference. That actually gives us this dot, and we need that. Let's hide that and come back to it. Now what we want to build is, so we will use the polyline command. Come here and hit MMM there, and bring it all the way down here. And so this thickness of the wall is 3 millimeter, so we want to come around here 3 millimeter and bring it back vertically, make another arc, right, and sort of close it right here. Okay, so this is going to be horizontal. Okay, so these two centers will be at the same point, which is coincidence with C on the keyboard. So this is radius 6, we know that, so that would be D on the keyboard and say 6. And this length is, so this is smart dimension system. I like it. I want to make these two equal, so that would be E on the keyboard, right? So the thickness is 3, we got that, and the radius is 6, we got that. Now this will come, so this was 30 and then 11, so this point, let's pick dimension, and then the distance here will be 30 plus 11, 41. So 30 is the distance up to this point, and then 11 is the diameter, radius of this hole. So we are drawing only up to this point. Okay, now we have 2 degrees of freedom left, which are this, and we can find that. So this dot we just took before we did anything else would be on the same vertical plane. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and this length will be 30. So we can say this. So bring in the dimension and then select this dot. That will give us option with the vertical distance between the origin and that dot. Okay, that's a fully constrained sketch. We got that taken care of. I'm gonna go ahead and rename that as sketch. I'm gonna say revolve profile for revolve, or rather Swift. All right, now what I want to do is I want to bring back the join curve and make a sweep. So this will be the sweep profile, and I want to take this freenet off. It's now by default in the 0.22 version, and sometimes it becomes an issue. So let's go ahead and take that off and then select this sweep path, right, and then hit OK. So that gives us this outer shell. So now we have our sweep, which is incomplete compared to this. We'll have to fill in this gap, so we'll have to draw something to fill this thing up, and that will be another sketch, right? So that would be another sketch on XY plane. And let's go ahead, bring sweep back. On this one, I want to bring in this dot, which would be sketch, right? And then take an external geometry, which is GX. On keyboard, hit GX at the same time and bring in this center reference. And I want to start with and create an arc by center. I will be filling in this. So this radius, I know this is 11, happens to be, and I want to say from here to there. Okay, and then I want to go to create arc by 3 points, and from this point to the axis, I want to make it tangential to this line. Let's do the same thing, this point and the axis, and tangential to this. Right, and also this point will be on this axis, so that's C, and do the same thing on this one. I will have to close this sketch. So that's another line, and then let's make these two symmetric by this origin, which is S on the keyboard. Okay, all I have to do is build it in such a way that it will be at least overlapping with this, right? And that will be the distance. So it says 5.5. Let's go ahead and make it 6. So here 6, and that's kind of overlaps with this object, and that's all we are looking for. Okay, looks like perfect now. So let's close it up and then extrude that downward for 3 millimeter and reversed. That closed the gap. Let's see if it's a solid. So I want to go ahead, so rename that as gap fill. Okay, and I want to make this one piece. Oh, that is beautiful. It did close the gap, but still I want to see if it is a full solid, and bring it up here, make a cut. Yes, it's a full solid, so it should not be a problem later in the design process. We got half of our object built. Now I want to rename that as half shell, which is 3 millimeter thick, and I want to mirror it over on this face, which is axis. I can see X here, so that means YZ is the plane that I'm looking for, and hit OK. And then I want to make a fusion one more time and say full shell, no cylinder. Okay, so we'll have to build a cylinder, remember from the drawing. Now because the way connect tool works, we'll have to do it half one side and then mirror it over on the other side. So let's go ahead and build a tube for outside diameter 26 divided by 2, and then inner radius would be 8. And on the height wise, I'll want to go, so that's 40, I know, remember from the top view, so I want to go to 15 for now, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, on this one, let's go ahead and rename that as tube 1. I want to go ahead and transform it to face this way and bring it downward, and just like that. Okay, all I'm looking for is that this edge is crossing this line. All right, and then we'll have to, so actually I may want to do it from this side. All right, because I see that this edge is at 20 from the baseline, so now I can go and see on the y it is minus 21. Let's make it minus 20, so that actually places it right where I want it to be. And then I see the diameter is not matching up. This line looks a little smaller, so this outer diameter is 26, so radius would be 13, right? We have there. Now it's lining up. And on the z direction, it is 13 millimeter below from the top, so on the z it will be minus 13 there. Now one thing to look at is that, see, this edge is crossing entirely, at least this. So there is the edge, and I think that's good. Now I can go ahead and then hit connect tool. That should do our connect. Okay, that worked. Maybe before I hit the connect tool, I can take the tube now and clone it, right? And then, or just take the tube and then make it a mirror on XZ plane. There. So it's now cloned or mirrored. Now I can go ahead and make this a connect object, and then take this and then take the other part, make it another connect. All right, that worked beautifully. Pretty good. Okay, so I think that's the end of the phase one, except that we didn't do the filleting thing. This fillet is radius 3, so this edge will have to be filleted for radius 3. Let's see if it works. So we want to say this is 3. It did not. Okay, because here it's matching, it's too many connections at the same point. So we'll have to do something about it. Okay, now we know that this is the connection point where it is creating this issue. Too many joints, too many lines at one point connecting. So, but we want to do the filleting on this. So how about we take this cylinder just a tad down from where it is now. So let's go ahead and find that tube here, right? And that's the original tube, and on that location on the Z, how about we say that minus 13.05, right? And that takes it just a tad bit. I know that's a very small, but that should actually, see if that helps. So we take this now and make a fillet of, very small fillet of 1 millimeter. Oh, that worked. Okay, so how about we make that a bit more, 2 millimeter. That worked as well. Maybe we can make it 3 millimeter as we want it. Okay, cool. I hope, people will not mind that, there is the 0.05 millimeter of gap that we did not want it to begin with, but it's there. Okay, so we'll just place it on this side too. We'll just select all of those 4 just to be on the safe side, and then hit 3 here and enter. All right, I think that's it. I think that's our object. It worked out pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and rename that as phase 1. And it matches with our technical drawing, and this is what we wanted to build, and we built that. And it says section 1 AA, which is this, and should be there. So let's see if it matches with section AA. So quickly we'll just do a section on text draw. Insert view, and then, all right, that should do. Okay, we have to click this auto distribute. All right, cool. And then hit OK. So this is the view that we want to do a cross section on. Let's go ahead and select this view and say simple cross section. I want to go with this and say live preview. Or maybe this and say A. Okay, this one, let's go ahead and then make it a 0 rotation. or maybe the other way. Okay, that's it. And so this is the view that we want to take a look at it, and it does look like our technical drawing. I'm going to say our phase 1 is complete to a 99.1% accuracy. I'm going to say here is the inaccuracy, but so there it is, phase 1 of Model Mania 2011. Tomorrow in phase 2 we will do the rest of the modification and FEM analysis. So do not forget to check that out tomorrow. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any question or any comment, please let them know in the comment section below. I'll see you tomorrow then.